Welcome to the Digital Lounge at the North Carolina Conference, the annual conference here in the Greenville Convention Center. We're here with Marty Cauley. He's the Director of Content and Coaching for New Faith Communities. And Marty, thanks for being with us.
You bet. And so supposedly I'll have a new job description coming soon. So we'll let you know what that is, because I might as well have my 4th job description in 5 years.
Awesome. Hey, well, can you tell us, what's your favorite part of annual conference and being here?
I think my favorite part of annual conference is to actually reconnect with people that we don't see, but annually. As a matter of fact, I was actually lamenting, I know I'll be one of the minority in this, that annual conference is a day shorter, because it kind of reduces the amount of holy conferencing time we actually have. Because some of my colleagues that I graduated divinity school with, or I've been in ministry with, or lay people that I've served with in other churches, the only time I see them is for this 3 or 4 days of the year. And you can't reconnect with everybody when there's 2,000 people here.
No doubt.
So, but my favorite part is definitely the kind of getting a chance to reconnect, spend some time with some really great people, and and have some holy conferencing.
That's cool. Well, since your role is morphing, what exactly is your role with New Faith Communities?
Well, New Faith Community does 3 things, right? We do discernment, formation, and support. We discern people who's going to plant the churches. We discern places where New Faith Communities need to go. And we discern the path, like what kind of new church needs to be expressed. We also do formation. So once we discern of who a planter may or may not be called, we're developing, we're developing a very rigorous discernment process to help them spend a year, even before they'll be appointed, to really discern and see if that's what God's calling them to do. Because our goal is to, like with the conference, to have effective leaders inviting people into the kingdom of God across the conference. So my role is morphing into, kind of again, is twofold. One is in helping churches really get an understanding of what it means to be an anchor church, so that we're going to send churches through a similar process of discernment, where they spend some real time looking and discerning who they are and what God has called them uniquely to do. At the same time, we're putting planters through a discernment process, which I'm kind of overseeing. We're doing a deep partnership with the Missional Wisdom Foundation. So our planters are going through a 2-year process. The first year is even before their appointment under the best case scenario, where they have a whole year of discernment, study, interaction, coaching, group work. And by the end of that year, then they make the decision, is church planting something really that I'm called to do? Because we're really hoping to get to the place where that we have an even greater rate of effectiveness for our new church plants. Now, here's the best thing. The North Carolina Conference has the best 5-year tenure of successful church plants across the connection. We have more new faith communities that make it past the 5-year mark than any other annual conference.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive, but we think we can always do better. And the way we do this better is by making sure our partner churches are equipped, our anchor churches, and our planters are even more equipped, so that the minute they hit the ground on the day 1 of their appointment, they already have some core knowledge. We're not having to build from zero. They have some core knowledge that they can launch from and move forward. So, so I'm kind of living in that formation section of our office. Greg Moore, who's the director of New Faith Communities, handles all the interactions with the cabinet. He does a lot of that kind of support, whether it is financial support and cabinet support and those kind of things. And we work together in discernment. So it's kind of an amalgamation.
Okay. Alongside of that, you have a healthy call for youth ministry and going and working with events and hands-on with a lot of ministry.
Right.
What's your passion for that?
Well, I've always loved youth ministry. Like most, I think, of the folks in our pews, I really became much more committed to Christ as a result of youth ministry. And then I got to spend 5 great years at Lake Junaluska as the director of youth ministry for Lake Junaluska, and that was awesome. But I've always believed in youth ministry, because it is literally the foundation of the church. I think is shouldered by the youngest members. Family discipleship. If there's an area in our churches that we need to overinvest in, right? It is in family ministries. It is in the spiritual formation of children, young people, youth, and young adults. Because they're at that formative time in their lives where if we can do serious spiritual formation during that time, it will be lived out in various ways throughout the rest of their life. and in all of their vocation, whether they become a pastor or a tradesperson or a salesperson or a journalist. If they have that core foundation of faith, it is going to be lived out forever. And that you'll see that. I mean, because what we need, yes, we do need principled, strong, theologically trained clergy. But what we also need, Lee, is principled, strong, theologically trained laity, because sharing the gospel is about going, not about coming, right? Yeah. It's about going into the world. And let's just face it. In the clergy world, we kind of get churchified. Yeah. But our lay people go into every area of our community, and we should be sending them out with a commission every Sunday morning when they leave worship to take that with them. And that's why I believe in youth ministry. And I believe that we need to continuously invest in youth ministry, both at the conference level with our events, which I think we do a great job of our events.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in our local churches, we need to, whether you're a small church and you just have a couple of youth workers and 3 or 4 teenagers, let me tell you, some of the most powerful experiences I've ever facilitated have been in my smallest youth groups, because you really get a time to walk alongside those young people and build that connection.
That's awesome. One last question for you. Favorite Wesley, John or Charles?
Good question. Well, I like Charles. I mean, I appreciate anybody who can write a hymn a day for more than a decade. Wow. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the crazy Wesley. I really like Chuck. I like anybody who puts dice behind his back or pieces of paper and then decides whether he's going to get up in the morning and spend 3 extra hours in prayer or go back to sleep. Yeah. I mean, the thing I love about Charles Wesley is he gives us permission to be a little bit crazy and still love Jesus.
That's great.
I mean, because he did some crazy stuff. And he also gives us the ability to realize that sometimes you got to preach faith until you have it, and then when you have it, you preach it all the more. So you lean into your faith is always moving and growing and evolving.
Great. Thanks for being with us today.
You bet. It's a great time. Have a great annual conference.
You too. See ya.